what you've been able to do for me and for so many women just around the pre and the postnatal journey around our health. What I loved about your essence is you kind of were able to mix the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and all of the changes all at the same time. And I felt like your classes were therapeutic, they were cathartic, they were healing. And so, can you just speak to that? Because I feel that for those who are really walking on that journey towards being more compassionate with themselves and with their bodies, entering the season of motherhood, where does that come from, and where did it all start for you?
Well, thank you so much for acknowledging that and seeing that. It took me a long time to see kind of how I worked, and I'm a huge anatomy nerd, and whatever I study, I jump in wholeheartedly. I have 2 degrees in fitness. I'm getting my PhD right now,
Oh my
and
gosh.
I love studying the body and different forms of movement. I also grew up with a mother who was a hippie, and we went to the Temple of Kriya Yoga in Chicago. And so I received my first mantra when I was 6 years old. So I've always had this combination of sort of like Eastern and Western, and I love to
Well,
bring
I
the
want to
two
stop you
together.
right there, because when you're
Yes.
going to the Kriya Yoga temple in Chicago, what was the mantra that they gave you?
I was actually told not to share
Oh, wow.
because it was my first. It was just for me. But I will share with you that since then I have moved on to another, and what I'm working with now, I'm more than happy to share. I've always worked with the heart space, and I've actually changed it from the Sanskrit now to Spanish. And you see me closing my eyes because I'm going within, and the prayer is enséñame, enséñame, which means show me, teach me, teach me how to show up and to be of service.
Mm, so beautiful. Now, at 6 years old, how was that receiving that wisdom?
It was cool. I didn't know anything else, so I remember showing up, and I had oranges, and we did this beautiful ceremony. I will share with you though. This is kind of funny. The first mantra that they gave me, I felt like it made me a little hyper, so I actually went back to the guru, and I was like, "Hey, could I get another one?"
As most 6-year-olds would do.
Totally. And so he gave me another one to calm the energy. And it was such a blessing because what I've learned since is that there are certain words or certain mantras or prayers that have an energy of like activation, and there's others that have an energy of compassion. So I like to work with both.
Mm. And so then take us through your journey then growing up with Kriya Yoga. How did that really shape your life?
So I'll share with you, I resisted it when I became a teenager. I was like rebellious, peace, love, hippies. Oi, come on. But what was interesting was then when I went into fitness and I became a personal trainer, I opened a gym in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. I moved there in 1997 from Chicago right after I finished my master's degree because I wanted to learn about my culture. I grew up with my mother, who was not Latina. I didn't know my biological father, and it was time to learn my language and to learn about my culture. So while I was there, I opened a small gym, and this beautiful yoga teacher from Mexico City came to Cabo, and he said, "May I teach at your studio?" And I said, "Yes, of course." I took his class. I had continued with my meditation practice so I could drop in. But as soon as he starts, speaking neti, 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 and we've got the Sanskrit and the meditation techniques, and I am not this thought, I am not that thought, I am not thought,
Mm.
I felt at home. And it felt like, oh, this is a full circle moment. And I see how all of this comes together and how the divine has created this dovetail for me to step in to weave yoga and fitness and meditation and the study of the body, the mind, and the heart together.
See you next time.
at The Brave Table.